Welcome to Larry's Library. Got something a little bit different for you this time. This is an e-reader update. Yeah, I'm trying something new as a book collector, my whole life really, and a book reader, physical books that is. I did start trying an e-reader, at least for my prose novels, not for comic books. I'm not there, don't know that I'll ever be there, because there's no real standard for comic books in digital form. There really isn't. We can argue about that in another video. But I'm going to talk about what progress I've made being an e-reader in this one. So I finished reading James S.A. Corey's Leviathan Wakes. And then I also finished the next book in that series, Caliban's War. I'll show that cover. And I started the third book, Abaddon's Gate, in the Expanse series. So I'm going to read all of those digitally. Still having a great time with this series. Still haven't went back and finished the TV show yet. I started that. I think we got through the first season, and then we got on to other things and never went back to it. But I am going to finish that one as well. But I think I'm going to go ahead and finish the books first. So yeah, I'm about a little over 100 pages into Abaddon's Gate. Loving that one too. If you're a big sci-fi fan and you haven't read this series, I highly recommend it. And that brings me to a new discovery I want to talk about. One of the many cool things you can do with the program Caliber, if you're not familiar, is you can organize your entire digital book library, but you can also change out the cover images if you want for all your ebooks, and that's what I've done in many cases. At first, I was simply getting the highest resolution image that I could, and then editing them down to my preferred resolution, which is 2160. I'm talking about the covers in vertical height, because that's 4K. 4K dimensions vertically is 2160, and that lines up perfectly on my 32-inch monitor, which is also 4K, and all my YouTube videos I shoot in 4K, so that's what I was doing originally. But then I started noticing that all my covers were that I had changed out, and the ones that come stock, for ebooks, they're all presented with black bars to the left and the right of the Kindle, and I think every other e-reader I've looked at, period, they all have black bars on the left and right sides. And I thought to myself, well, why is that? That's so weird. When these e-readers are designed specifically to read books and really nothing else, why doesn't the cover image line up? Well, the reason is most novels and books in general, mass market paperbacks, everything really, trade paperbacks as well as hardcovers, they're the same basic shape with little variation. They're like this. And if you notice, they're not the same shape. Books are taller. So, you kind of wonder, well, why didn't the e-reader screen manufacturers, why didn't they just mimic the mass market paperback shape? Well, I have no idea. Maybe you have a clue. If you have any idea why they didn't do that, seems obvious to me. Seems like a no-brainer. Why would you not just mimic this familiar shape for everyone? I don't know. But they did not. It's kind of close, but it's a little wider and a little shorter. So the shape that they went with is almost exactly 4:3, which is the ratio of your old TV screens, and your old tube style monitors were all 4:3 like this. So this is just the vertical version. So here is the resolution in pixels for all current 7-inch e-reader devices. Kindle, Kobo, all of them. They're all 1264 by 1680. Now take a look at this, 1264 by 1680 versus 800 by 600, and you can easily see the differences here. I'll put it on the screen. So when I put these dimensions in Photoshop and resize with the aspect ratio and the proportion control on, and I change the vertical dimension to 1680, from 1680 to 800, it resizes the width to 602. So it's just 2 pixels shorter than the old CRT standard dimensions for most entry-level 15-inch CRTs from back in the day before we had LCD, LED monitors. If anybody's old enough to watching this to remember those, with the screen flipped. So the monitor was like this, and these are like this. So hope I'm making sense here. So 800 by 600 is kind of the dimensions I think of when I think of 4x3 shapes. What a truly baffling decision they made to not go with this shape instead of this shape. So strange. So what's the fix for the covers? So to make your covers fill the screen on your e-reader, if that's what you're wanting to do, and I know it's such a small thing, but I like it. I like getting it to fill the screen. So what you need to do is you need to add some material to the side, which is easiest accomplished by just finding the highest res image you can find online. And it's not hard at all, because you can go to usually the publisher site, and they'll have it. They'll have humongous versions available, And so the easiest way to do is just get that big ass image and crops over the height while making the side width. That'll make the side width correct. So you get a really big one and just cut down the height, lop some off the bottom and the top, or usually I trim some off of each and try to center it up, make it nice. And so here's an example of one I fixed. So this is for Way Station by Clifford D. Simak. Not sure the pronunciation there. I watched reviews from David over at Garage Geek, and also Jeff at Jeff's Cave of Cool Books. They reviewed this book, Way Station, and it made me want to read it. So I obtained the ebook version of that. And here's a cover I took from an old paperback that I found online, and I scaled it to perfectly fit the dimensions of an e-reader. So I think it turned out pretty good. What do you guys think? I lifted the text from the original and moved it over to the resized one, and so I think it looks pretty nice. It's a pretty small thing, these black bars, but it bugged me, and I love to mess with graphics, and I've been using Photoshop for 30 years now, and I love doing this kind of thing. So I have fun fixing all these covers. And as we go through this video, I'll show other examples of books that I've resized their covers to fit e-reader screens. Now, one thing I did find out is there are numerous book deals you can find. Because, in the first e-reader video, I'll link it up below somewhere. I talked about the terrible value proposition that most ebook pricing is. It is horrible value. When you're paying more for the e-version than you would a physical paperback, to me, that's just wrong. But I found out you can get some really good deals if you look. So I've bought a bunch of good stuff for $2.99 or less over the last month or so. And I'll give some examples here, and I'll show their covers. I got The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. I got Philip K. Dick's Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep. Of course, that's famous for being the story that was the basis for the Blade Runner movie. I've yet to read it, but I'm going to now in digital version. Got The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams. I've read that many years ago, but I may reread it now. I got Black River Orchard by Chuck Wendig. Hell House by Richard Matheson. I got Michael Crichton's Timeline. I got Stephen King's Christine. I got The Mercy of Gods by James S.A. Corey. Killer Come Back to Me, The Crime Stories of Ray Bradbury. Check out how I reworked the cover here. Love this cover. And I love Ray Bradbury. I had no idea that he did crime stuff. Blew my mind. So I'm anxious to read this one. Should be pretty cool. It's a collection of all the short stories he done in that genre. So should be pretty awesome. Let me know if you have read any of Ray Bradbury's crime stories, or if you even knew that Ray Bradbury did crime stories. Let me know down in the comments, because that blew my mind. So I found out all about these Amazon sales via BookBub. It's an email newsletter you can get. It's totally free. It's free service. I highly recommend that. And if you don't buy from Amazon, you want to buy from another market like the Kobo Marketplace or some other one, you can change it in your preferences, and it'll show you deals from whichever ebook marketplace you care to list. And I've since switched to Kobo Marketplace, and more about that in a little bit. So I am still very much undecided on which new e-reader I'm going to get, because I am going to get a 7-inch device. It's the 6-inch that gifted to me from Mary M. I mentioned in the previous video, and I am loving it, but I do want to get a new 7-inch one, and I just got to figure out which one. And it's really come down to, it's either going to be the Kobo Libra Color, or it's going to be a Kindle Paperwhite, probably the Signature Edition. So I don't know. Let me know your votes down in the comments. Still up for grabs there. It's going to be one of those. Still haven't decided which. I mean, I lean Kobo because I love Kobo's policies more. Amazon really sucks as far as that goes. Their digital rights management situation is terrible. Kobo's is much easier to handle. It's easier to strip the DRM now. Why would I want to strip the DRM? Well, it's because I like keeping a copy of these things on my computer, because you never know when they're going to go away at the hands of some other of Amazon, for example. They could change that anytime they want. I'm going to back up all mine, and if I can't back it up, then I don't want it, So I'm either trying to buy books that are DRM free, and there are some out there, or I'm buying them and then I'm stripping it out with the tools that are readily available and free to use in Caliber. Now, you have to make that decision for yourself if you want to do that, because it's technically illegal in some regions to strip DRM out, even if it's for your own personal use. I mean, I'm not posting these somewhere. I'm not becoming I'm not pirating the books I'm buying. I mean, it's crazy. Some people do that, but that's not me. I'm doing it for my own personal use. So I have no ethical qualms about what I'm doing. But it's up to you to decide that. So yeah, I was happily buying these, under $5 ebooks from Amazon as I found the deals on things I want. And then I was stripping the DRM out with the tools available. In this older Kindle, the format it got was easily stripped. I could strip that digital rights management stuff out of there, until the last book I bought on there came down as a KFX zip, which is their Amazon's roughest DRM to remove. It's very difficult, and I failed to remove that one. So I'm not buying any more ebooks from Amazon. That's the position I'm taking. So the only reason I would consider buying the Paperwhite is because I think the hardware might be slightly better than the Kobo hardware, even though they all source their screens from the same place. The board itself and the glass layer they put on it and the chassis, all of that is supplied by, Amazon's own manufacturer, not the screen makers. So there are some differences between these devices. So, it's a rough decision. I kind of like the flush screen of the Paperwhite more than I like the older style, like this one, like this older Kindle has, where there's a little lip, because I'm just neurotic enough to be bothered when, dust bunnies or whatever, or hair falls in there and sticks in that frame. I'm reading and I'm trying to, blow that out of there, and it's just darting around and getting stuck up in the frame. And of course, then if you touch that, you potentially move to the next page. Maybe that's just me. I'm silly that way. I can be my own worst enemy. Let me know if you have preferences to flush screens versus framed screens. Let me know. So let me know what your choice is on an e-reader. Now, even though I'm not ever going to buy any more Amazon ebooks, not going to do it. I'll buy from Kobo or somewhere else. I could still load those onto an Amazon device using Caliber or send a Kindle. There's other ways of doing it. So, like I said, I'm still very much undecided between Kobo and Kindle. Let me know your thoughts on that and your arguments for and against. You can still sway me. So, I don't know. We'll see. But that's where I am on e-reading. This is my first e-reader update since the first shocking e-reader video I did. If you didn't see that, like I said, I'll link it up. Let me know if you enjoy seeing these and if you want to see more, or if you just only want to see my physical books. Let me know down in the comments. It might influence what I do in the future. Subscribe for more, and give me a thumbs up if you liked it, and I'll catch you next time.